What is up, everybody, and welcome back to the inaugural return episode of The Rewind, hosted by me, Sid. I'm really excited to be back on the show. It's been a grueling, what has it been, like a year and a half or so since I've come back and talked with you all. I'm very excited to be back. I'm excited to record more episodes. I'm excited to really do something again that brought me a lot of joy at the beginning of the pandemic, and I get to share that again with a couple of new people and some old people as well. So stay tuned to that for that because it's going to be a lot of fun. The show right now is going to be focused on mostly queer artists. I really want to try to focus on that perspective a lot more, specifically within the nightlife and the drag scene. But I'm open to stretching that out a little bit as long as they're queer. I love them. If you liked the content before this channel became like a drag race, me recording a drag queen on stage channel, or my weird uploading TikTok videos on this channel as well. If you like art, if you like drag, I think you'll like these interviews. Our first guest of the inaugural return episode is a Washington queen who's moved all the way to Baltimore, Maryland. Her name is Miss Kris Rose. So why don't you guys sit back, relax, and rewind. What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rewind. I'm very excited to record another episode because I have not been consistent at all with recording anything. The Rewind is a show where we dig into the annals of the annals. I don't think it's called the annals. Whatever. We dig into the annals of my guest and get to know them a little bit more and talk about them. That's not really a good spiel, but we're working on it. We're getting back. We're getting our foot back into it. My next guest on the show is a diva from Seattle who moved to Baltimore, Maryland, to pursue drag. Miss Kris Rose. Kris Rose, how are you doing?
Hello, everyone. I am doing fantastic. I feel stunning.
You look amazing. Like this took a long
Thank
time.
you. It did, unfortunately. I do take a while. Sorry, Crystal Edge. But yeah, I look good no matter what.
Tell me about it. Tell me about this look that you have on for the people who are watching.
So this look is my marketing slash girl group challenge slash boy group. We have a male in our group, but this is like my rocker look. This is what I'm going to be wearing for the performance. It is at level 2, aka the Manor in Baltimore, and the performance is March 7th. It is going to be Savage, Covenant Couture, and I performing Let Loose the Remix, and we get to write our own original verses. If you would like to follow our band, it is called Sick. That is S exclamation point CK. You'll find the username probably somewhere in editing, if that is possible. I don't know how this works, but yeah,
It'll be in the description down below.
slay.
I love that you went right into the end of the show where we usually
Oh
do
no!
where
What's
we
the drama?
no, I know, I love it. Have you ever done a rocker group? Like before we get into the look specifically, tell the audience, tell the favorite artist who you are, what you do, and then how we met.
I am a drag queen. I have been doing drag for almost 9 years now. That means I started very, very young at the ripe age of 14. I started doing drag in Seattle, and I there were some complications with my attitude and some family drama that led me to run away from my problems and responsibilities all the way across the country. And here I am now in Baltimore. I have just done two different competitions in Richmond and DC, and now I am doing one in.
That's really interesting that you said that. Expound on it a little bit more. Do you feel like you've changed a lot since you moved to Baltimore compared to when you were in Seattle?
Oh, 100%. I definitely have a better outlook on how connections work and how you need to advertise yourself and be professional at all times, even if you have your own opinions. Like you can state them, but like at the same time, like alter them to where they don't sound super rude.
Oh no, that's a really hard thing to do. I mean, I feel like I've gotten the comment a lot where a lot of people think I'm like super intense and like, oh, he looks angry.
Too.
Like he looks angry all the time. And I'm just like, this is my face. Like I
Oh,
promise.
literally, I used to get the comment like, "Why do you look so angry?" And I'm just like, "I painted on eyebrows today. I don't know what you want from me because I don't have any eyebrows that are drag. I shaved them."
Mm. I love that. I did that too. Did you know I did that? Like,
I think I did, and that like I've seen some of your stories. Like we've connected a little bit. Oh, I didn't answer that question. We met technically via DragCon, but we did not meet at DragCon.
oh yeah, exactly. What happened is, and I was talking to Asti about it too. Not you, but like how I met him, previous guest of the show. Um, I follow drag queens a lot.
Yeah.
And I love drag and I love following drag queens. And I feel like that's the best way to like support a drag queen is to like follow them on social media and like their posts when you can't like tip. So I followed you. We have a lot of mutual follows, which is really interesting. Um, are you familiar with Fanny DeVito? Because like that was a
I
big
am
one.
familiar with Fanny DeVito. Love Fanny. I worked with him Pride of 2021, 2022, somewhere around there. I don't remember the correct timeline, but we did a workshop Wednesday together, and he was lovely. Everyone there was lovely. I made so many good friends. Yeah, I'm just a big follower and a big stan. I'm also a big follower of drag. I love everyone. Sometimes.
And who do you know? Like specifically with Seattle, you were also in Bellingham. Well, did you live in Bellingham specifically?
No, so I lived in Marysville, which is about an hour north of Seattle. Not quite Bellingham. I did live in Anacortes, which is Skagit County, which is basically Bellingham.
Okay, I was curious about that because you're also in Rumors Cabaret, which I'm not too familiar. Like you did a couple shows there. I'm not too familiar with it, but a couple of drag queens that I follow perform there. But specifically, my good friend Faye performs there a lot too. Yeah, how is it like performing there specifically?
I loved performing there. Love Ricky, love Mix, love oh my gosh, who's the drag king? I'm blanking. Oh no, this is embarrassing.
That's all right. You don't have to remember names.
um, but literally love everyone who works there. Some of them have unfollowed me, and that's okay, but I still
Oh.
love and support every single one of them.
Yeah. I mean, that happens. I think with like social
Yes.
media specifically, I don't really, especially as I gotten older, like I don't take it personally that no one wants to talk to me on social media, someone unfollows me on social media, because like I'm aware that like people come on social media and like they see things and sometimes it's not something that they want to see. It's like it's not personal or anything like that. But you know,
That.
so I'm glad you don't take it personally that they don't follow you.
Well, don't take it personally anymore.
Okay,
At the
that's
moment, I surely did.
we've grown. It sounds like
We have grown, growing and becoming the lovely Rose that I am today.
exactly. And I was actually watching your audition tape for RuPaul's Drag Race season 15, and you mentioned
Oh,
that
thank you.
Chris was from Kris Jenner, who was the stable. You felt like she was the stable one of the Kardashian
I
family.
do feel like she is the most stable Kardashian. Just she keeps everyone in check. She's the momager. She's just a good person, in my opinion, of
Uh,
course. Other people
well,
have it.
well, that's that. Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I was going to ask you, like, do you still feel that way? Like 2 years? What?
100%.
Okay, nice, nice.
I
Um,
don't watch the Kardashians or anything. I just love Kris Jenner. I love who she is. I look up to her so much. She's
her,
just so cool.
I love the Kris Jenner meme. Like you're doing amazing, sweetie, like that one. Yeah, it's a lot
Yeah.
of fun. Um, By the way, there is some lag between us. So if there's like any pauses or anything, like there's not, it's one of those things. This is only the second best podcast in the Inland Northwest. So if we were number one, it would have been a big problem.
Hey, it happens. It happens with the best of us.
Yeah, and going back on when we like how we met and stuff like that, it was a kind of at DragCon. I saw you and like I knew I was following you, but like I didn't know. Like I was like, is that is that who it is? And then in my mind, I'm like, I don't know her name. Like
Oh my God, that's
I just like
hilarious.
I couldn't be like, oh my God, I love your stuff, and like I have no idea who you like what your name is. Because like because at that point I didn't know you were like from Seattle or you moved to Baltimore. Or, like I think like
Mhm.
I think the DragCon thing, like I think you moved to Baltimore after DragCon around that time. Was is
I
that right?
actually moved like right before. So like I moved to Baltimore. So I made like my little transitional period. I gave myself like a week to drive here. I drove here, by the way.
Oh wow.
It took me 4 days. But yeah, I moved here before DragCon. I didn't want to make any public appearances, and then I went to DragCon, made my connections to Lakiki. It was a good time, and filmed Bring Back My Girls.
That's right. You're on a couple of episodes of the TS Madison hosted show that's at
I sure
DragCon.
am.
Yeah. Did you know you were gonna like I know it was I'm sure you know it was recorded. They've done this is like season 2 of the show. Did you think that you were for sure gonna be in it?
Oh, 100%. That is exactly why I got myself in that front row during during the Down Under. And I sat like a couple seats down from Coco Jumbo, which honestly, being at DragCon is so cool. Because like being from Seattle, I didn't really work with a lot of Rude girls, not including Bosco and Irene, just because like in my eyes, they're still like Bosco and Irene from when I first met them at Neighbors. But like just seeing everyone from like all facets of life was just so cool and so charming and endearing in a way. I love DragCon. However, I unfortunately won't be making a return because it is hella expensive.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say actually, like the fact that it was like that you moved to Baltimore, then you went to DragCon like a month later. Like I thought that was kind of crazy because like I'm kind of going through that myself, where I'm like, I feel like I need to move soon, but I'm also going to DragCon. Like it sounds kind of
Very
crazy.
sad.
Yeah. What I was curious because you brought up the Down Under, Bring Back My Girls. Were you what was your reaction to seeing Nirupam, who popular TikToker? They do a lot of RuPaul recaps. You probably know who they are. Huge ass mammoth. Does that sound
Mhm.
familiar? Yeah. They asked the question like, what was it? Murder, Mary, like,
Block, Mary, Kiss,
but
or
yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that one. Yeah, it was that one. And then that's when, oh my God, all the names are going. Like the
Minnie
one
Cooper
Minnie Cooper. Yeah, that's when Minnie Cooper like left the stage. I like
did.
what was your reaction at that moment when you saw that?
I so like you know how when you're in a conversation or like you're surrounded by an argument and you're like, it was very that, and then I went to Pamara Fifth, and then I went down, and she was walking away, and I was just like,
Oh
oh
wow.
wow, this is happening. This is live. This is crazy.
Yeah, and I
It was
think what
such a good time.
it was crazy because like I wasn't there for the Bring Back My Girl stuff because I was like doing other things, but
Mhm.
I heard all the commotion. I heard all the tea and I'm like, "Oh, I guess we're going to know more about this in a few months whenever they're going to air
Yes,
it."
we did. We surely did. It was so crazy. I also did the Canada one, so like
Mhm.
the uh the Miss Fierce Delicious and Chaos stuff. I was just like, I'm living my best life at DragCon. This is so cool.
I just hope it
Getting
doesn't like
all the drama because like we really don't get to see the girls or guys, depending on stuff in the future. Drag Race, catch up with Dragula, please. But yeah, just seeing the drama outside of like their social medias and like what they filmed on the show, like it's so interesting because like we don't see that really.
No, I love that. Especially like I mean RuPaul does the episode before the finale where they bring him back and, the reunion like episode.
Yes.
Which, I feel like over the years like it's just as produced as like everything else on Drag Race
Oh,
nowadays. Like and
absolutely.
but it's like you said, we don't really have anything that's like the aftermath of like the finale and like a year later, really just talking about how did this all go down and
Yeah,
maybe like talking about like what was really going on behind the scenes. And I love it.
you just get like a little glimpse into like how they're all connected and like see what relationships or no relationships at all, like how they kind of bonded before, during, and after the show.
Oh yeah, exactly. And speaking of drag, I do want to talk about you some more because this is your episode. Um, you have a really nice aesthetic. Like you're always in something different. Like you're
You.
you're always like experimenting with like different things. Can you tell me a little bit about like what goes through your head, like aesthetic wise? Like what are you inspired by?
So I'm not really inspired by anything, and I know that's such a lame answer, but like I obviously like have inspirations where it comes to like performance or like fashion. I definitely draw a lot of my fashion from Aquaria. I've just always looked up to her as a queen. Lucy too. Lucy LaDuca is so cool and so charming. Like when season 15 was coming out, I actually messaged her and I was just like, people are really underestimating like your padding situation. I have a really flat chest at the moment. Could you like send me a link to like what you use for your breasts? And she sent me the link and I was just like, this is insane. Um, but I forgot the question.
Oh, what was that?
I forgot what the question was, the original
Oh,
question.
oh, that's fine. No, I was just asking like what do you draw inspiration from? But it sounds like you kind of like just kind of go off the vibe of like, oh, this is something that I kind of want to create.
Yes, absolutely. I don't like putting myself in a box because when you put yourself in a box, you're containing yourself to a shtick. I don't like that idea. So I am an insane person, and I think I can look good in anything if I style it. And most of the time, it does come out how I want to. And I just like applying outfits, hair, performance, and all of that, and like just kind of mesh it together. You know what I mean?
Oh no, I totally get that. You brought up like styling, and I do want to talk about the fact that you are a wig stylist too.
I am. I am.
Where
At
where
Rose.
where did that come from?
Drag is very expensive. And unfortunately, I don't have the capabilities to put these hands through a sewing machine. I say that with the sewing machine sitting right over there. I have deconstructed and reconstructed an outfit. My denim look actually. I don't know if I have any photos of it online. I could be wrong. But I'm actually really excited because I am soon going to be making an outfit out of unconventional materials. And when I say unconventional materials, I mean it. Just because I want to challenge myself throughout this competition. You should always be thriving to push yourself and doing stuff you're uncomfortable with and fitting it to the theme of.
Oh yeah. Especially like with unconventional material. You see it on Drag Race all the time. Like it's just a bunch of weird stuff sometimes.
Terrifies me.
Hey, I feel like if anyone can nail it, it would be you probably.
Definitely appreciate it.
Now you did mention this like competition. What is it exactly? Like, what exactly are you competing for?
So I am competing in Dragmania Cycle 2 again at level 2 slash manor. It's the same place, but it's like the second level, which is ooh, surprise.
Yeah.
But we are competing for $1,000. I unfortunately was in the bottom last week. Um, and I had to go up against one of my dear sisters, Fluorescent Vice. I did have to send her packing though, unfortunately, so that I could stay in the competition because it was Park and Bark week, and I don't know how I ended up at the bottom because the judges were just like, "You did really good. We have nothing to negative to say," and then somehow I ended up in the bottom.
Hmm. Yeah, don't you love that? Like, especially like on Drag Race when that happens. Like they have
It's
nothing
so
bad
funny
to
too
say.
because like my wig was not pinned in whatsoever for the lip sync because I didn't think I was going to be lip syncing. But one of my competitors was just like, "You should still be doing drag the right way. Pin it in, girl." And I was just like, "Okay." But I'm very grateful to the person who said that, Calliope. Thank you. Or else I probably would have lost my wig during lip sync and went home.
Oh, for sure. I realized that like at least on the show anyway, like when they do like a lip sync for your life, whenever they take off their shoes or take off their wig.
It's terrifying. Let me tell you, it is so terrifying.
Mhm.
I have done quite a few lip syncs at this point. This last one would have been my fourth one. I have yet to lose a lip sync, by the way.
Nice.
But yeah, it is so terrifying and like so infuriating, especially when you feel like you don't deserve it. So when you're watching it, I definitely understand how most of the performers feel in that moment. You're just like, I'm going to like shit, barf, and do all of that at the same time.
Oh yeah, I bet. I mean, again, I was like talking about this with Asti, like on the previous episode. I the moment I put makeup on my face and for how long it took and how difficult it was, it gave me like a huge like respect to like the people who do it on like just drag in general, but also like on the TV show, on the TV shows and stuff, where they have a set time limit. It's like I don't think I could do that. Like,
Neither could I. I mean, hey, I've already said I know I take a long time. I take 3 hours. But the day I get on Drag Race, no, no, baby, you're doing it in an hour and a half.
exactly. So the competition that you're a part of, it kind of, I don't want to say it's similar in format to Drag Race because like other bars, other, for the longest time usually have like categories and stuff like that. So, but for the casual person, like it's similar to kind of like Drag Race where you have like each week you have like some kind of thing that you got to do.
100%.
Yeah. And this is the second time you're competing, you said?
Third,
Third
third
time. Oh,
time over here. So the first time was I started in DC and then I did one in Richmond. Now I did the Richmond and DC one at the same time, which
oh wow.
maybe was not the best idea looking back at it. But hey, I was third place for both. I'm happy, but I'm trying to be first place in this one.
It sounds like you're the jujube of
Hey, the DMV baby, the BGB of the DMV.
All right. I want to go back to your story in drag. You said you started when you were around 14 years old. What made you get into it? Like, why drag?
So technically, I originally wanted to do like cosplay stuff, and I was a Homestuck person.
Oh,
So you could just imagine like the type of stuff that I wanted to do. But unfortunately, I could not afford it, and my parents were definitely very not against it, but they weren't for it at the beginning. So I this is gonna be a crazy story. I went on Omegle one day and I typed in the word gay. And I found me a lovely boyfriend from the state of Pennsylvania. I don't know where in Pennsylvania. And I could probably reconnect with like my original drag mother, but we talk sometimes, but not all the time. So I ended up dating someone who did drag, and I looked up drag, and when you look up drag now, all you see is RuPaul. When I looked up drag then, it was a bunch of hobo clowns in crazy makeup and wigs.
mhm.
So I was just like, I'm not so sure about this. But we had kind of a rocky relationship. We were on and off, etc. But the final time that we were off, I was just like, let's just see what this drag race is all about. And so I started watching during season 6, the OG season for it depends on like what what time you started, but like most people's like OG season is like 5, 6. I definitely found my interest in that and found my calling, and I was just like, maybe that's what I need to do. Because I also didn't think that like going forward in life, I had anything to look forward to. So I wanted to do something fun, funky, and fresh.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think my first season was Sasha Velour's season, actually. I knew about
Really?
yeah, I knew about Drag Race. I it was one of those things. I was on Tumblr like as a teen,
Oh,
and
fair.
I just saw pictures of Adore Delano, and I was like, "Who is this?"
Yep.
They're kind of hot. There was their confessional pictures, and I was like, "Oh, this is a reality competition show called RuPaul's Drag Race," and I'm like, I I don't like reality TV, but I like this Adore person. They're kind of hot, in my mind,
Mhm.
even though I wasn't like fully accepting of myself and stuff like that. At the time, the only drag queen I knew was Divine from Hairspray.
I didn't
So,
even know Divine at that point, so you were
uh,
already doing better than me, baby.
oh yeah. But I think like as I kind of got into it and like my friends were like talking about it, I was like, oh, okay, let's watch whatever's going on. I don't know, like remember exactly how it started, but I think I just watched a random season. I think it was season 6, to be honest.
Mhm.
And then I really got into it. And then I started watching live, and my first live one was Sasha Velour's season. So that's how I got into it. My whole background of being gay and like figuring all that stuff is like very complicated. But when it's my turn to talk about me, we'll talk more about that. But
Mhm.
I want to go back to your family. What was your family's reaction? Like once you were like, I'm gonna try to do this professionally.
At the age of 14?
Yeah. I mean, like, was that when you like was 14 like the time period where you were like, this is it, mama? Like, or was there a time in your life where you're like, oh, um, I think I really want to take this seriously? Because usually when you're starting out on something, you're kind of feeling the waters. I feel like,
Oh no, I was full blown. I was
oh
just
wow,
like, get me a wig, get me this makeup. So like I said before, they weren't really supportive, but they weren't really like they were afraid that I was going to get bullied, which I did. But the thing about bullies is that they're not the parents' bullies; it's the kids' bullies. And I can handle it myself. Most people can't, and I understand where that fear comes from. But for me, knowing who I am and the stubborn bitch that I am, I was just like, I need to be myself, or I'm going to go. So I kind of just made them support me in a way. I was just like, you can either accept me or you don't. And that's completely up to you. I left it up to them. It did come around eventually, but it was a very rocky path, nonetheless.
oh yeah, I bet like it is for most people anyway. I know my mom was she was okay with it. I mean, her best friend was gay, so she's been around gay people. It was my father, my Middle Eastern father, that I don't talk to anymore. Let's just say that.
Yep.
Um, but I'm glad that they came around to it eventually. Have they seen any of your shows?
They took me to a lot of my first couple shows. So the first competition that I did was the Skagit Valley Drag Competition. I competed against a lovely bunch of people. I was actually still a senior at the time, and this is when I was still in like my girly phase. So
Mhm.
like I didn't look this crazy. But I'd like to think that I came in fourth just because I think I did really well. But I did not place. The winner was Stassi, who now lives in New York, and I love
Oh, nice. Yeah, I saw that video of your performance back in, I think it was 2022. You were in like you had a feather duster.
Yes, but that was not for a competition. That was
Oh,
so they did the competition that one year, and they had done competitions before that. But moving forward, they had only focused on just like making drag a little bit more well known just by doing like regular shows that aren't competitive.
interesting. And it was in Skagit, right? Like, is Skagit like a place in like the Washington area?
Yeah, so it's just called Skagit County, but I'm just not sure there's like a city of it. I just know it's a county. But it's in the Lincoln Theater is out in Mount Vernon.
Okay. No, I okay, now I know Mount Vernon. You said it was Skagit, right?
Skagit.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I kept saying Skagit, like, that word.
It's
Skagit.
okay. I was not going to correct you at all because moving to Baltimore, I apparently have been pronouncing all sorts of names wrong.
Mhm.
The only one that I got right was Baltimore.
Okay, that's really cool. I mean, names are hard. Words are hard. Um, why Baltimore though? Like what was it about Baltimore that you wanted to go there instead of somewhere else?
It was the closest and cheapest option to a friend group that I already had out here. I didn't really have anything else going for me elsewhere. Um, like they were in Alexandria, Virginia, which is like on the border of DC. But that area is kind of expensive for me, so I just kind of chose Baltimore, which is it's only an hour away, so it's not too bad. But like hopefully, I'm gonna try and move closer to DC is the plan, just because I do feel a bit more oriented there.
Yeah, I mean, you're pretty close to a lot of like landmarks anyway, like
Yeah,
when it comes to like queer stuff. So, well, I mean, there could have been much worse places than Baltimore.
100%.
Yeah, you could have moved to Spokane, Washington.
I could have moved to Florida.
You know what? You're right. Yeah, I'm sorry. I can't compare Spokane to Florida for sure. But hey, Maya Iman LePage like works in Florida. Malaysia Baby Doll Fox, they're doing all right.
That's very true. Are they? Have they moved out yet, or
I
do,
don't, I don't know. You know, like
they're
that's
too busy traveling anyway? It doesn't really matter.
oh for
They're in
sure. Oh yeah. So after you moved to Baltimore, how long has it been now, and how do you feel about the move?
It has almost been a year. I stand on my move completely. I've made plenty of new friends. I've made plenty of new drag acquaintances. Um, even an enemy, which like we've kind of reconciled our issues over stuff that is more personal in our lives, but we still have our own differences about a situation that happened in the Richmond competition that I was in.
Oh geez. You probably can't talk too much about it.
Not too much, not too
Okay,
much.
that's totally understandable. At least just so everyone knows that this is a show about Kris, so we're not gonna dig into that. um, so what does the future look like for you now? You've moved from Seattle. You're in Baltimore. You're competing in all these shows and stuff like that. What's the future looking like for you?
The future is looking like potentially moving to DC. I definitely want to start auditioning for Drag Race again. I haven't auditioned since 15. I have either not had anyone to film with or have not had the energy to do it myself for both 16 and 17. So don't expect me on season 17, please and thank you. But there are a bunch of lovely entertainers that are going to be on season 17 that we cannot wait to get to know in a year or so.
Wait, do you know somebody that got called back, or are you just saying?
Maybe, maybe not. You don't know. I don't know. We don't know. You never
Well,
know.
you know what? You're gonna have to like come back on the show, and because now I feel like you know something.
Who knows?
Yeah, we'll bring you back on, and then you can tell me like, oh, that this is the person that I was mentioning, Sid. But anyway, um, tell me about your current challenge now. So your band is called Sick. Um, where did that name come from?
So I was throwing around like ideas of like making our band name like something of a combination of our names or like our initials, and I literally made every single combo, and then it literally just lined up at SCK spelled sick.
Okay.
So that's how we created it. I literally threw it out and they were just like, yeah, we have like we all have like some sort of like mental chronic or like previous illness. I'm obviously the medical one, but I'm not gonna say the others illnesses just because that's not professional. But yeah, I'm super excited. I will say that I definitely got paired with the right people.
That's good. I mean, like hey, you could have been paired with the wrong type of people. Although as we learned in Dragula season 5, sometimes the worst people to be paired with, they win the challenge. You know,
JK.
let's no JK. Hey, I love JK so much.
No, I love JK. JK's hot. JK's hot as
JK
hell.
is very hot. I'm on.
The New York queens are kind of
Oh, all of them are. They're spectacular. Like,
really
yeah. I love JK. He's the person that it's my type for sure.
100%. JK and Don. Ooh.
Both of those. I hate it, but I love it. Tell me about the people in your band. Because you said you are compatible really well. Like, tell me something about them.
So I unfortunately have not gotten to really know them too personally just yet. But Savage is a drag king. Um, we love kings up in here. A lot of people aren't fucking enough kings, which is pretty. So fix your behavior, please. Um, and he is a burlesquer. He loves to wear like glitter all the time. His beard is so stunning, and like the fact that he grew it himself, spot on. And then Covenant Couture is another local Baltimore Ian. Oh, Savage is from Delaware, by the way. There are a lot of out of towners in this competition, which is kind of crazy to think about. Um, and Covenant Couture, I have loved getting to know Covenant from the other room because there are two separate rooms upstairs. But I'm definitely getting to know them a little bit better. Still learning, learning and growing about them and their aesthetics, and they're probably thinking the same about me. You know that I am a raging cunt, though.
Yeah, well, I don't get that vibe from you. I feel like you're really nice, Like that's
Oh,
the
my winnings in Shakers was the reading and the roast challenge. I'm a shady beach.
oh. Well, I like just don't shade me because like I really I'm not good at that. I try to, but I feel like I'm too nice.
It's okay. I'm not playing Jane.
Yeah. No. Here's the thing, something about Plain Jane, she's kind of hot. I'm not gonna, I have to admit it. Just a little bit.
I would love to say the same thing had I not blocked her.
That's fair. I can totally see that. I'm definitely
It's just too
yeah,
much.
yeah, she's a little too much, but maybe
Like
maybe
even I have my moments where I'm just like, ooh, that was a little far. But like I like always am like, you realize I was joking, right? And like they're just like, yeah, that's just who you are. But like Plain Jane is to the point of no return that everyone thinks that it's serious.
Mhm.
And I personally think it's very serious. I understand that it's just how she was brought up, but I don't think that was an excuse. I turned out pretty well.
Exactly. Did you see Q though? Like, and how crazy she's been going on Twitter.
Oh, I uh, her handle is everything and it speaks for itself. I am living for Q.
I love that.
I I because you posted about it earlier too that like people haven't been speaking up enough about like the hate that like drag Rue girls get and like drag queens in general. So like I am the type of person to like pop off, hence why I blocked Plain Jane because I am also quite crazy, but a little less crazy. But I'm living for everything that he was saying. I will admit, like some of the things are going just too far. But like she has every right to be as angry as she is.
Especially when it's coming from those Twitter stands. that only have like profile pictures of drag queens, like Rue
Oh,
girls
babe, it's
specifically.
coming from every which way.
Oh no, no, for sure. But I feel like the most unhinged ones come from those accounts,
Absolutely.
and they need to be taken down a peg. IMO, you know.
They think they could do well on Drag Race. No, no, no.
Mhm. I think I could do well on Drag Race if I can just make Rue laugh the whole time. You know,
Oh,
just like
100%. I am planning to go in when I get on, like, and just be unhinged, campy, and like hilarious. I just want to make Rue laugh so, so bad.
mhm. Yeah, I'll just be the hilarious Chris Ross, Chris Rose. Jeez, why did I say Chris Ross? Ross Matthews, Ross Matthew Kiss.
Goodbye.
Oh my God, I'm tired. Anyway, we are getting towards the end of the show. Kris, I wanted to ask you, what does the future? I think I asked kind of a similar question, but like, what does the next this year look like for you? Like, what are you doing besides the competition? Like, what do you hope to do this year specifically?
Um, After this, I don't want to rely on other competitions to get me booked. Um, I know it's a good way to get your, ooh, excuse me. I know it's a good way to get your start in a community, but I don't want to rely on it. I relied on it very heavily in Seattle, and that's why I was kind of getting frustrated and overwhelmed. But definitely getting to know people here on a personal level is a lot easier than I thought it was going to be moving here. So just always be comfortable with yourself. Don't be afraid to reach out to producers and stuff. Speaking to all the new queens too.
Mhm.
Um, don't be afraid to reach out. Always make the connections. Go to shows. Even if you are busy, like always attempt to show up and show out for the people that are paying your dues. You know what I mean?
Mhm. No, yeah, exactly. I think a lot of artists can stand to be like a little bit more independent and like trying to find the right collaborations, like and the right people to like do real cool stuff. And actually, like it brings up another question. Have you ever thought about just doing your own show? You know, like what's stopping you from just producing something?
I tried doing something in Seattle and like I went to a bar, tried their food. It could have been a really good place for a brunch, even though like Seattle is filled with brunches.
Mhm.
Um, I just don't have the financial stability, B, the mental stability, and three, the creativity to have my own show yet. I will say, like, there's always hope for something in the future, but I am still in my learning phase. I'm very young as a performer, even though I have been doing drag for a very long time. I've only been performing for a couple of years. I'm coming up on my fifth year, so it's only going up from here.
Oh yeah, that's why you gotta know people, you know? Like that's why you gotta like my recommendation is always for people to like just go to places that you normally wouldn't go, you know, and meet different people.
100%.
Yeah, build that repertoire up and like make cool stuff. Because I've been able to do it. And like with theater, back when I was doing theater, like I produced shows in bars and
Mm-hmm.
what was the other one? There's like a an art festival that happens every year, and I was able to do something small then, you know, getting grants and all that. Even though that at this point it's been like 5 years since I've done anything like that, but you know, it's what my professor always told me is like you know all these people, and it's just about putting it all together. So hopefully you do.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean you're stunning, so it's gonna work out for you. Um, Wayward Artists, we are at the lightning round section of the show. It's a series of 5 questions I like to ask guests each and every week. They're fun, they're not so quick because we'll talk about them forever. Kris, are you ready? The first question is describe a perfect day.
Um, in my bed.
Really? Like, like, Like the whole day, just like chilling, rotting in bed, basically.
100%. I work so much. I do drag so much. I do my wig so much. I just need sleep and a chiropractor.
I love that. Are you drinking any, like a cocktail? Do you drink?
I don't drink. I
Okay.
drink sometimes, but like I don't drink how other people drink.
Okay. So you're not like a cocktail, like I need a cocktail or
No, I need a
no.
melatonin.
No, I love that. No, that's great. I mean, you do work a lot, like between like your regular job and drag. So it's kind of crazy.
I do.
Second question. What's a song that describes your life right now?
Untouched by the Veronicas.
Is that the song you're gonna lip sync at the competition?
No, I am not.
Okay. Because it would have been funny if you mentioned that. Like, like that's a song that's kind of dominating my life right now, is the song I'm lip syncing for.
No. All of the next lip sync song is "And I'm Telling You" by Jennifer Hudson.
Okay. Nice. Like I've never heard that song. I'm not really good with music because I lived in Saudi Arabia.
You've probably heard that song.
Probably. I mean, I know who Jennifer Hudson is, so.
Oh, it's the Chi Chi Thorgy lip sync.
Oh, okay, okay. There we go. That
There we
see,
go. Made the
Drag
drag
Race,
connection.
especially since that was a really good lip sync too.
Was R.I.P. Chi Chi.
I mean, like it was good for Chi Chi. I mean, there was Thorgy,
And
even
there was Thorgy.
yeah, pretty much. The song that describes your life right now. What's it about exactly?
It's about being untouched.
Okay, love that. I haven't been touched in a long time.
Neither have I. It's almost been a month now.
It's been 30 years.
Oh,
Pretty-
oh.
like it feels like 30 anyway, but it's been a long time. Um,
Mine feels like 32, and I'm only 23.
Love that. Love that. Question number three. What's your third favorite movie?
Harley and the Chocolate Factory,
The Johnny Depp one?
the Johnny Depp one.
Really? That's really
Yes,
interesting. I'm a Willy Wonka guy myself.
love Willy Wonka. I have yet to see Willy Wonka, but I really want to see it. I'm waiting for it to come out on a streaming service.
I mean, like the OG Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Oh, Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Even better. Like, okay, when I was straight, I used to have a crush on the character of Violet Beauregard.
I love that. I used to have a crush on Hannah Montana, so
You get the best of both worlds, baby.
yeah. No, for real. Like it got to the point like in Saudi Arabia and all. Like I think someone assumed I was dating Miley Cyrus because
That's hilarious.
I was like I kind of leaned into it too. Like I knew her.
Hey, I used to tell people that I was a Power Ranger.
I mean, you know what? Why would you lie about that? Question number four. What's your favorite ice cream topping or frozen yogurt topping?
Gummy bears, surprisingly.
Really? On frozen yogurt
Yeah,
or ice cream?
frozen yogurt. I'm definitely gonna go with the frozen yogurt option if I can. I have dental issues.
Oh, no, I can't relate to that. Well, actually, no, I think I have some. I haven't been to the dentist in a bit.
Neither have I. I haven't been to the doctor in a bit. Ooh,
Doctors worked well for me, especially when I got hit by a car. So, um, that's a whole other story, but it wasn't too serious. But I did see it. But I did see my PC. But I did see my PCP, so we got that sorted.
love that.
Question number five. This is kind of a newish one. I'm workshopping it, so we'll see how it goes. You're putting on your shoes or you're putting on your sock. Which foot do you start off with? The right one or the left one?
Right one.
Okay. Any reason? Are you right foot dominant?
I'm definitely right. Like I'm right-handed. I think I always start walking with my right foot, unless it's a theater production, or is it the other way around?
I'm
I
not
don't
sure.
remember.
Yeah, I learned about like foot dominance like as a kid, like because I we see a lot of like soccer and stuff like that. And like, oh, this player is right foot dominant, left foot dominant. I'm like, people have a preferred foot. I just like that's not something I mean, people do have preferred feet, if you know what I mean. But um,
Yeah.
But it's just like in terms of like walking and stuff, like I guess I just never really thought about that.
Yeah, it's very unconscious, but like sometimes I do think about it. I'm just like, what foot am I walking on?
All right. Well, Wayward Artist, that's the end of the rewind. Kris, why don't you repeat what you said at the beginning about your competition? When is it happening? How can people support you, either at the competition or just on your drag life?
Yes. So you can follow me on Instagram at Miss Kris Rose, username somewhere. Um, my performance with my band is going to be on March 7th. Yes, we have a bye week so that we can collect as many followers and traction and marketing as we can so that we can win this. But my band's name is Sick. That is S exclamation point CK because we do not have an individual whose name starts with an I. And that username will be somewhere in my arms. And you can follow and support me and my team members there. And yeah, of
Awesome. Well, thank you, Kris, for joining the rewind. It's been a lot of fun. Hopefully,
course.
hopefully we'll get you back on, and hopefully one day I get to see you perform. Come back to Seattle.
Have them book me.
That's fair. That's understandable. Wayward artists, without further ado, it's been real.